Hello, and welcome to our Impactful Projects and Planning micro training series. I'm Jamie Azdani, and today's session we'll talk about when and how to consider the sustainability of your project's outcomes. So from a project management perspective, project sustainability means that we can maintain our project's work and outcomes at a certain rate or level. Project sustainability is particularly important for mission-driven organizations because so many projects in these environments are building or creating programs or systems or deliverables that will become a part of the organization's regular or ongoing operations. So we need to make sure that what we are building is something that the organization can maintain or sustain. Our projects are often a proof of concept, and sustainability is about whether and how to sustain that concept. Project sustainability is also important for mission-driven organizations because sustainability tends to be a core value or strategic priority. Promoting sustainability, however that is defined, is often at the heart of what mission-driven organizations consider their vision, mission, values, or strategy. So let's dive into how and when we should be considering project sustainability. I've got 3 tips to share today. My first tip is to understand what sustainability means for your organization. Sustainability is bigger than a single project or project manager and needs to be defined and understood at the organizational level. Sustainability might be defined as environmental sustainability. This is often what folks think of first when they think of sustainability. So how will our outcomes impact our climate and environment? How can we ensure our project and outcomes support best practices and organizational values for reducing climate damage and impacts? Sustainability could also include organizational sustainability. So how do our project's outcomes help sustain our organization? Are we doing work or building outcomes that further our organization's mission? Sustainability might also be defined as financial sustainability. Are our project outcomes something we can afford to maintain? Do we have the funding or backing to continue to support the outcomes or programs we are building? We might also define sustainability as including the staffing and time to implement and maintain our outcomes. Do we have the people and bandwidth to run this new program or initiative that our project is creating? How sustainability is defined will depend on the organization and may include all of these elements or may focus more on 1 or 2 of them. As a project manager, we want to understand what sustainability means for our organization so that we can effectively consider it. So my second tip is to consider sustainability early during project initiation and planning. We should consider sustainability as early as possible so that we can ensure that our project's outcomes are something that the organization can or should maintain. For mission-driven organizations, we should consider sustainability during project feasibility or initiation when we are deciding whether to pursue the project in the first place. There are several simple questions we can consider at this stage. Like, will we sustain our project's deliverables? This is really the central question. Are we creating something that we will want to sustain, like a new program or system? Or is our project creating something temporary, like an event? We likely aren't trying to sustain those deliverables. So if we are planning to sustain our project's outcomes or deliverables, then we consider who will be impacted by the deliverables in the short term and the long term, and how will they be impacted? This question allows us to think about our stakeholders or users or our community or the climate. We can also consider the resources that will be needed after the project ends. So will the outcomes we are creating improve or strain existing resources? Again, these questions can be considered before approving a project. We can also incorporate sustainability into our project planning. I introduced these 5 steps to impactful project planning in a previous micro training, and there are several steps here where we can consider and incorporate sustainability. When we are defining our scope, we can make sure our project's purpose reflects our organization's approach to sustainability. Is our purpose to design or build something that can be implemented, that's financially sound or environmentally friendly? We can incorporate sustainability into our scope. For example, instead of a scope that just says we are developing a new program to address some issue, we might say that we're developing a financially or environmentally sustainable program. Adding sustainability to the scope keeps it front and center throughout the project. We can also consider sustainability when we identify our stakeholders and roles. Are we including those who will actually be impacted by the project's deliverables or outcomes in the long term? Are we including experts who understand environmental impacts or financial or organizational impacts? Have we gotten input from people who understand what sustainability means for our organization? And of course, we can consider sustainability when we are defining our outcomes. So when we are defining our deliverables or outcomes, we can ensure that we are testing or assessing our outcomes for sustainability. In this example, our approach to this project is to do an initial design of our new program and beta test it before we get to a final design. This iterative approach builds in a testing deliverable that could be used to assess sustainability along with other quality measures. Planning for and defining our outcomes also usually involves planning for quality measures. And this is a great point in our planning to consider sustainability. When we are determining how we will measure the quality of our project deliverables, we can establish criteria for the program that meets our organization's sustainability goals. We can use standards or regulations that meet sustainability guidelines and best practices, and we can get input and feedback from users on sustainability. Incorporating sustainability into your outcomes quality measures and planning is probably the simplest way to make sure sustainability is part of your project. Beyond project planning, my third tip is to conduct a sustainability assessment. This assessment goes deeper than the simple questions we ask during initiation and can support more in-depth outcomes planning and evaluation. Our goal with this type of assessment is to consider the sustainability of each project deliverable across different project elements, to understand the context we are operating in and the needs and impacts of sustaining our deliverables. I find it useful to consider the sustainability context, needs, and impact of each project deliverable that we want to sustain across 5 different areas: people or stakeholders, effort, resources, time, and alignment. For example, for people, we might ask who will sustain or implement the deliverable, who might be involved, who might lead activities or perform tasks, and who will be impacted by the program in the short term and long term. How will they be impacted? These are similar to the questions we asked early on during project initiation, although we may have a clearer picture or answer once we have planned for or developed our outcomes or deliverables. For effort, we might ask what needs to be done to sustain the deliverable. How much effort will the program take? How will we maintain that effort? We can ask similar questions about resources and time. Questions about alignment can be used to help us consider whether what we are sustaining is aligned with our organizational priorities and goals. Again, this is a more in-depth approach to considering project sustainability. This is an exercise that can be done with your project team or leadership team and key stakeholders once you've defined your deliverables. It could also be part of implementation planning, perhaps running parallel to your project or as a part of project closing and reporting. This type of assessment can provide your organization with critical information that can be used to make decisions about or prepare for sustaining project deliverables. So those are a few tips on project sustainability. Make sure you understand what sustainability means for your organization, consider it early during initiation and planning, and conduct an assessment for a more in-depth evaluation. Project sustainability can be built into your project processes and workflows. For more help with project workflows, check out our project templates list. Templates for common project management activities can support efficiency and help your organization develop a consistent project process and help you lead more impactful projects. This free download is available at yazdaniconsulting.com resources. If you need more hands-on support leading projects and teams, visit our project solutions page at yazdaniconsulting.com projects to learn about our services. Great. So I'm happy to take any questions that you have about project sustainability. Please add them in the comments. I'll give folks a few moments to add their questions. If I'm not able to answer your question live, I'm happy to respond later in the comments. You can also find all of the ways to contact me at yazdaniconsulting.com contact. Please reach out to me if you'd like to talk more about project sustainability or planning. Okay, so a question is, most of our projects are grant funded. Does that change how we should approach sustainability? So with grant or outside funding, I think sustainability actually becomes even more important. You may have to consider sustainability at some level when applying for funding, as funders want to know whether you can maintain whatever it is that they are supporting you in creating, or they may have their own criteria for environmental or financial sustainability that you need to meet. But something I see a lot in the mission-driven space is that it's when the funding or project is ending that folks start thinking about or planning for sustainability. So there's this point at the end of the project where leadership says, is this something that we can or want to maintain? And I think that's where that more in-depth sustainability assessment can come in. So it can be part of that decision-making process at the end of a project to see whether your organization wants to pursue additional funding or to maintain whatever it is your project's created. Another question is, I really thought project sustainability meant environmental sustainability. Any tips for making our projects more environmentally friendly? So yeah, that's often what folks think about now when we say the word sustainability. And in terms of ways our projects can be more environmentally friendly, beyond creating deliverables or outcomes that are themselves low impact, which can be a quality measure, I think we can consider the resources that we are using. And so do we really need to travel or print as many reports? Are we working with vendors who consider their own environmental impact? How this is going to look really depends on the organization, but also on the project and what it is that you're creating. But I think even asking these questions and making them part of your project planning is a step in the right direction. Great. So feel free to comment or reach out with any additional questions. And thank you for participating in our Impactful Projects and Planning micro training series. Visit yazdaniconsulting.com IPP to view all of the sessions in the series and learn about upcoming micro trainings. Thank you.